Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Suleeha. I'm a Nigerian YouTuber residing in Ontario, Canada. My channel is all about lifestyle talks, living in Canada, migrating to Canada, tips and relocation to Canada, and basic general discussion and daily vlogs. If you're new to my channel, I say welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your support, and thank you for constantly liking and watching my video. If my channel interests you, please feel free to stick back, like, and subscribe to my channel so that we can grow together. So today's video is all about my PR story. I'm just going to let you guys in on the good stuff about my permanent resident story, how I came to Canada from the UK, how I became a permanent resident to Canada. I'm going to be giving you all of that gist in this new video. So please stick around and, enjoy, just listen, feel free, get your popcorn, because it's going to be a very long discussion, and I'm pretty sure that you're going to enjoy this video. So let's get right into it. How did it begin? How much it cost? The process, how I got into the Canadian Express Entry pool as a single person, and how I got a permanent resident as a family with my husband and my son. So I would say that the journey started around 2020. Yeah, so I think it was around that time when the whole NSAS thing happened. I've always thought to myself that I just needed to, find a way for myself, look onto the bigger picture, move on with life. And besides, I had my siblings in Canada already. So I just wanted to move close to my sister as well, because it's been a long time coming and it would be nice for us to be together. So I just nurtured that and I went into that determination. I had the determination that I was going to do it. I wasn't going to procrastinate, and I started. So the first thing that I did was I made research. I made sure to make research. I made a lot of research because I'm all for DIY. I like to do things myself. I like to get involved in processes. I like to be involved in things, basically. So I went online, I made a research, I checked for my eligibility, I saw what it would cost for me to, join the pool, be picked in the pool, what I needed to do, and I started right onto it. So I also joined some groups on Telegram. They were really, really helpful. I made sure to utilize those groups to the best of my knowledge. I made a lot of friends as well who were together on this journey. Like I used to say, if you're on a journey, whether it's academics, whether it's you're trying to do something, study or whatever it is, you really, really need to look for like minds. You need to look for people that have the same goals as you, so that it makes the journey really easy. So the first thing that I did was I saw that the first thing that I was going to do was I was going to evaluate my result. So because my background as a lawyer, there was a particular body that evaluates results for lawyers. There was another body that evaluates for other types of degree. So you just need to make sure you know which one would be evaluating your results. So the one that I stuck by was ICAS. ICAS evaluates results for lawyers, and the reason why I did that was because it wasn't because I couldn't use WES, which was another body that could evaluate the result, but it was because if I used ICAS, I had the better opportunity to get more points as a professional degree. It was rated at par with a master's degree. So I went with ICAS. It took 3 months, because I had to get my transcript from my university sent to ICAS. The process of getting my university degree certificate sent to ICAS took around a month. Then it took about 3 months for ICAS to evaluate my result. So I got my evaluation in July of 2020. Before my evaluation came out, I'd already been practicing for my IELTS. So I'd already registered for my IELTS with the intention that once my evaluation was about to be out, I was going to write my IELTS, because I had been practicing for the IELTS way before evaluating my result. I just, flipping through, reading through, just nothing intensive, basically. So once my evaluation came out in July, I did my IELTS in September. So I studied hard for my IELTS, and I made my IELTS at once, because I knew that I needed to max out my IELTS, and I needed to, submit and enter into the pool at the same time when my friends were doing that. So I had a friend that were on this journey together. We wrote our IELTS exam at the same center. We were both lawyers, so we were encouraging each other. We were doing the stuff together at the same time. So when our IELTS results came out, I created an account. I created an account. I inputted all the information. I uploaded all my ECA. Into the portal, and I also uploaded my IELTS into the portal. Then after doing that, it generated a score for me. Altogether, my score was around 475, because the way the Express Entry works is that it's a point-based system, basically. When a draw comes out, it's either you meet up to the cutoff mark or you don't meet up to the cutoff mark. So at that time, when I finished, my score was on 475. Then the waiting game began. So when I submitted into the pool, I think I entered into the pool in September. Then I was waiting for them to do a draw. Nothing happened at that time. The Express Entry was beginning to, I don't know how I would call it. It was, we didn't know what was happening, because usually there was going to be draws every Wednesday, at least 2 times a week, two times a month, every Wednesday, twice a month. But we didn't see anything. So we waited. I was waiting. I was hoping that I was going to be picked. And November came. They did a draw in November, and the ITA score for that month was 469, which of course I was picked to apply for. I was invited to apply for permanent residency. So I was so happy. I got into the pool. Then the next game began, which was the next step. After you've been picked in the pool, the next step is to get your documents, and then dive into submission and all of that. So I got my documents. I got the ITA. I accepted the ITA, because you needed to accept within 3 months. So I accepted, and then I started gathering my document. Part of the document that we needed was your reference from work to show that you have 3 years or more of experience. We have the proof of fund. We also have the medicals and all other documents as well. I'll try to list the document by the side. I tried gathering all of those documents. I got a reference from work. I got a POF. So for my POF, what I did was, my mom did a deed of gift for me for my POF. She just transferred the total amount into my account, saying that she was giving me the money with no encumbrances. I don't need to return the money. She was giving me the money to proceed and pursue my intention to live in Canada. So I added the deed gift letter. I added it to my application. I submitted that. I got all my documents all together. I got my document because of my medicals, my document delayed. So I got my document complete in January. I didn't get everything together until January. You couldn't believe it. I got ITA in November, and I didn't get all my document complete until January. So I submitted my document in January. At this time, I had a partner. I was still doing all of this as a single person. It wasn't with the intention that I was, going to get married or anything. I was just doing it as a single person trying to pursue my intention to live in Canada. So I submitted on the 11th of January. And then after submitting, I left it for, IRCC to do their thing. While that was in process, I got married. So I did my introduction, then I got married. The issue now becomes, what am I going to do? Am I going to leave my husband? Am I just going to go to Canada? Sorry. Am I just going to go to Canada and leave my husband? What's going to happen? So I also went back to the drawing board, made a lot of research about what's going to happen. Is my husband going to also start the process from the beginning? I made a lot of research, and from what I could find, it was possible for me to add my husband post AOR, that's post acknowledgement of receipt of my submission of my permanent residence application to IRCC. I could add my husband to my application, and that was what I did. So I got more information. What I did was I raised the web form to IRCC, including my marriage certificate, including pictures of our wedding and all of that, and I sent it to them to please add my spouse as an accompanying person with me to Canada. And then I left it. I was waiting for a response. I followed through with constant web form to IRCC. In fact, I made a call through, and they were when I made a call through, they informed me that my file has been transferred from CIO, where it was being handled before, to Accra, Ghana. And then the problem begins, because at that time, anybody whose file has been transferred to Accra, just know that the waiting game or more is not going to be easy. My God. So I said it had been transferred to Accra. I was like, oh, wow, okay, no problem. I looked for Accra's email address, and I started bombarding them with email as well. Please, I need to add my spouse. Please, I need to add my spouse. And I just left it at that. So, and as at that time, when we were waiting for Accra to reply us, my husband was already processing to go to the UK as well. He wanted to go to the UK, He had his own travel plans. I had my own travel plans. The goal was, if you meet someone and your goal align, just try as much as possible to make sure that everything goes hand in hand. So he was pursuing his UK travel, and I was also doing my Canada thing. So we had to find a way to make sure that both goes into each other. So when his own UK clicked, he just needed to he added me as a dependent to his application in the UK. So what we just did was, as at that time, because shortly after we got married in February, we were already planning. He had already applied for his visa. I waited a bit because I was still at work, and I needed to do the proper thing. I needed to resign, and I needed to, give the proper notice. So I waited behind to make sure all of this is in order. Before he left, surprisingly, Accra replied with a biometrics for my husband. We had gotten all the information we needed from Accra. They gave me some few documents to prove our marriage. They gave me to show proof of relationship, to write a brief history about our relationship. It was quite a lot of documents. They asked me to pay for his own application fee, his own medical fee, police character, criminal records, and things like that. So, as at that time, he had already started planning to go to the UK. So what was it that we thought to do? We thought that, okay, you know what? You're just going to do the medical in Nigeria, and then you do your biometrics when you get to the UK, because you're allowed to do your biometrics anywhere that there's a Canadian embassy, anywhere that, there's a Canadian visa office. You can go there to do your biometrics, which was what he did. So we did the medicals, and then he went to the UK. He proceeded to go to the UK. So I, in Nigeria, proceeded to, continue submitting the document, because, of course, I was the primary applicant. So what I did was, one of the things that was also required that we do was to update our pre-OF. Proof of funds for a single person is different for proof of fund for family of 2. When I entered into the pool, I entered as a single person, and my proof of funds was 4 million naira as at that time. Now it's probably about 7 million considering the exchange rate. I don't know, but it should be around that amount. So what I did was he sent me a million naira, because as at that time proof of funds for a family of 2 was around 5 million naira. So he sent a million naira to my account, and I updated the POF that I had before. So what I did was I added some further letters to show that this 1 million that was sent as a lump sum to my account was sent by my husband in furtherance for our settling in Canada. So I did a letter like that, and I added it to part of the documents that I was going to submit to IRCC. So we got all the documents, we paid for his application fee. Bearing in mind that when I paid for my application fee in January, I paid 499,000 naira, which was I can't remember how much it was in Canadian dollars, but I know that in naira it was 499,000 naira. When he wanted to submit his own application, he paid 534,000 naira. And the reason was because I had already done biometrics with Canada before. He doesn't have the biometrics done. So he needed to do biometrics, while I was excluded from paying for biometrics. So when we submitted the document, I also, because of the fact that we are asked to submit the document on the portal, it was very hard because of the amount, the volume of document. After compressing and compressing and compressing, it was very hard to see the content of the document. So what I did was I also raised the web form. I gathered all the document and raised the web form, and I sent it via web form again. So we submitted all the documents, and of course we continued living our life in the UK. And you know, we were waiting for some sort of response from IRCC. Thank you guys for watching part 1. I didn't want to make it unnecessarily long. I will see you in part 2 shortly. Bye.